Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and today I'm bringing you guys another Switch video. What am I bringing? It's the new Wingtrees. So Wingtree is a new brand that's in the Switch market. We're gonna have to see what all their Switches are like. I actually got so many of them from Unikeys, so thank you again, Unikeys. We're gonna have to see what they're like, how good they are, how good they sound, and my thoughts on them, and of course, get them in that chart that I have, and of course, help you guys figure out what Switches you should grab. So let's go right into it, but please make sure to like and subscribe.
Alright, so we're going to first take a look at the Switch itself. Now, you're going to be kind of surprised. The Wingtrees actually come inside a box, and they actually have a container that comes with it as well. So this is something that I was actually quite surprised with when getting the Wingtrees, especially considering the price. So this is a Wingtree. It's very simple. It's a linear Switch, which I think it kind of reminds me of like a bunch of other black Switches, kind of like the Oil Kings or the MX Blacks. So we're gonna have to really see what it's like, but it's really cool that they provide you a box and a container with them. Now, as you can see here, when you consider that price range, very good. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what it sounds like, but let's hear it.
Now this is the Wingtree in my hands right now. What are my thoughts on it? It's a scratchy switch. I'm not gonna lie. They're incredibly scratchy. I was kind of shocked of how scratchy these ones were. They're very clacky too. So it's very clacky, but also scratchy. In a way, they're kind of scratchy like the MX Cherry switches, the MX Cherry Blacks. That's the kind of feel that they have to them. You do have to loop these though. Even with looping them, they're very scratchy. And then stock is even scratchier. Stock is actually too scratchy to the point I'm like, this is too much for me. I don't like scratch in my switches too much. And this one was like to the point where it's way too scratchy. In terms of the clackiness though, it is quite high pitched though. I wouldn't say it's too loud, but we'd have to go into the actual decibel test in my in-depth review to see what it's like. But overall, it's budget, right? Like they do incredibly budget switches. The price wise is very good. They do provide like that carrying case, which is awesome. So overall, in terms of just the packaging alone, you get your money's worth. But then the switch itself, I don't know. If you don't like your scratchy switches, this is definitely gonna suck for you. We're gonna have to go in depth though. So let's go into seeing what this is like and open up the switch.
So let's go back into looking at the information of the switch again. Now, from the sound test and everything, the switch is definitely going to be a bit scratchy on the stock side. Once you do lube everything, it does get a lot better. So that is the stock switch, and we're just trying to get a sound test with just the switch itself, and you can kind of hear like the scratchiness in it. They are a bit on like kind of similar to what the MX switches are like in terms of the scratchiness. Now we're doing the distance travel that I can do, so starting at 18 going to 14.1, so that's supposed to be 3.9 millimeters. We're gonna try that one more time because I want to make sure that I'm measuring correctly. So it's actually 17.9 to 14.1, so that's 3.8 millimeters in terms of travel. So the travel on these switches is actually not bad. I do like having a little bit of a longer travel in terms of my switches, so this is something that's nice. Now to look at the stock like lubing on these stems, so the first thing I notice is that the lubing is very minimal. You're gonna get like a little bit where the stems are gonna meet the rails, so that's a portion that's like very lightly lubed, and then slightly on the sides as well. But in general, you're looking at like very minimal lubing in terms of these switches. And overall, I think it's the springs that are going to be the most scratchy part of these switches. I actually would make sure like to oil up the springs a bit. Otherwise, you are going to get a quite scratchy switch. But then again, some people might like that kind of scratch. If you do like that scratch, maybe this is a switch that you'd want to try. In terms of the spring length, so we're looking at a total of 20 millimeters in terms of the spring. Now they do have a different version on Unikeys website, which is hand lubed, and the springs are longer at 24 millimeters. So that's a very long spring, but single staged here. And overall, the spring does feel pretty good in terms of like the smoothness. And the pole on the stem is actually quite short. So for a clacky switch, I expected it to be a little bit longer, but no, it's actually quite short. Now, I'm trying to show you guys in terms of the pin lubing. So certain switches like the HMX and the KeyGeek will actually have some lubing on the pins. This one, you can see there is none. So maybe that is what makes what HMX and KeyGeek also really nice in terms of their switch stock, because I feel like their switches mostly don't need any hand lubing at all. But this one, I would highly recommend the hand lubing. Now, the next thing we want to look at in terms of these is going to be how loud these switches are going to be. So overall, we first do like a complete quietness. So my room is going to be around the 30 decibel point. Then once we actually start tapping the keys, we can really get a bit of that loudness. So this is like the mic very close, and then I'm bringing it a lot further, which would be more like the distance from the keyboard to you when you're sitting at your desk. And it's going to be around the 70 to 72 decibel point. So not on the quiet side. If you do use these in like an office space, just know that it's going to be kind of loud. I would say the best for offices are like anywhere between 65 to 68. Now, in terms of the actuation point, so like the force when you're pressing it down, the operation force, sorry. So when you're pressing it, you do get a little bit of that feel. So you will feel that at the top end when you're pressing it down, but smooth after that. Now, in terms of the switch, it is quite light, but in terms of the stem wobble itself, the top end, you do get a little bit of that rattling. So the stem isn't very tight in terms of the housing. and when you press it down, you will actually notice there is some wobbling. It's not a heavy wobble, so you're not getting like a ton of stem wobble on these switches, but there is some wobbling, mostly vertical, especially like upwards. And when you press the key down, you can actually see it move as well, but the wobble is not that bad. So just understand that when I'm pressing on the keys like that, on the camera, it'll look actually worse than it is in person. Now the backlighting. So as you can see here, it's completely blacked out. Even with the keys removed, like you can see the lighting is supposed to be there, but with the keys on top, you're getting like zero lighting coming through from them. So if you are someone who do like their backlighting, these switches won't work for you. But if you don't care about backlighting, you have like a custom board that doesn't have any RGB, this could be a more budget switch that you can get, especially considering like it has so much that comes with it. Now this is the whole Excel spreadsheet that I'm working on. So it's still in progress. I'm working on this thing, and my idea is that I'm going to keep updating these things on my Discord. So you want to make sure to join the Discord if you want to keep updated with this specific like thing I'm working on. So I have these switches in the Neo 65 Core Plus. It's a foamless board, something that I can really make a good sound test with. Now the pitch itself. So what the pitch is going to be like a test of my Audacity. So I use Audacity, I record the keys, FGH specifically, and then I get a graph, and then I make it like go through ChatGPT, kind of analyze like the different points of the graph, right, from like where I can get the different pitches from the high like harmonics all the way down to low tones, just to get an idea of like whereabouts is this going to be in terms of like thocky and clacky. And the pitch that I write there is just like a reference point for myself, so that when I do make a graph later on, it's going to be like an image for you guys, so that you can really see where all switches are standing. And then in the side, I have like an idea of what I want to call it in terms of like a light bright clacky, or like a really like high pitched clack, something like that. But the idea is this. So this is the kind of graph that I'm looking to draw, and it's going to be like a XY axis, and it's not going to go into the negatives. So the idea is we're going to have thocky on the left for like deep switches, and then after that on the right side is going to be the clacky. So we'll have clacky side, thocky side, and then the verticals is going to be the decibel points. So as you can see, like I want to have switches going there, and then that's going to be decibel, so you guys have an idea of how loud these switches are as well. And I'm hoping by doing this, it will help a lot of people kind of see a large list of switches, especially as I go more into switch reviews, and I've been doing a lot more of them. That way you guys can just look at one drawing and be able to go, okay, this is a switch I want to grab for myself. And my sound tests aren't going to be perfect. I'm going to be honest, I'm not doing every single keyboard anymore. I want to make it a little bit more stable and just have something very good. So maybe 2 foamless boards and a few foamed boards, just to get an idea. Now, in terms of these switches, I think for the price, you're getting quite a lot. I think the Wingtrees is going to be a very decent budget pick, especially if you are someone who likes scratchy switches with a little bit of clack to it, or the MX switches. Definitely go check it out. I'll have the links in the description for you. You can get a discount on Unikeys with my code Mikey, and honestly, I think they're going to be a very good budget brand that's coming forward.
Now, I hope this video helped you guys. Please come join the Discord. We have a Discord community where you can come and ask questions and talk about switches or keyboards, things like that. Ask any questions you have. We don't even just talk about keyboards. We have talks about a lot of things. So come join it. It's a very friendly environment that I've made, and I want to keep it that way. So make sure to follow the rules when you come in, right? No swearing at each other. We really want to keep it clean. We want to keep it friendly. And of course, go check out the other videos I got. Check out other wing switches. But of course, I'm going to bring to you guys like the video, which you can get in the description. And of course, use my code at Unikeys for a discount. You get a 7%, which is awesome. And check out the other videos. I'll catch you guys next time.